I believe that everyone, yes, everyone, has the right to express their own opinion.
But...
You know, at least make them good. The creator of today's dumpster fire is Pappo, who, in my opinion, is actually an amazing YouTuber. In the past, he's made loads of, like, really well-edited and well-written videos, like the Shipwreck 64 and the SML Wiki video. However, some of his more recent works are just... like, these Roblox videos he's been making have been a lot more controversial, and this has definitely been one of them. Look, I don't hate Pappo or anything. I actually kind of respect him, and I have respected him for a while, but Roblox Asym, terrible games for terrible people, is ironically terrible in itself. So I'll do the honors of crashing out and tearing it apart for you guys, as I usually do. And look, I know that by the time I haul my arse and finish this video, there's going to be about 100 just like it, but you know what? I don't really care. It only feels right to cover this since I'm a bit of a master hater, and this guy is a bit of a master baiter. Less than 10% of people watching this right now are subscribed, so please drop a like and subscribe to help support me. You can also join my Discord server through the link in the description if you want to hang out. You don't have to, but I'd appreciate it nonetheless. And with that out of the way, let's begin. Okay, so I'll do you guys a favor and I'll skip through the first 3 minutes or so of Pappo's video, considering you've already had to sit through my obnoxious intro. I'm not gonna force you to sit through another one. He starts off by explaining basically what an asym game actually is and talking about the general history of Roblox asyms. And now, I don't need this information spoon-fed to me like a disgusting greasy toddler. However, there are a couple of interesting things that we can pull from here that will come very handy later on.
Bear Alpha is closer, but I hate this game and I refuse to talk about it in any meaningful way. Bear Alpha is closer, but I hate this game, but I hate this game, but I hate this game. The first game to truly be an asym is Flee the Facility. Its gameplay is as close to Dead by Daylight as it could be, without directly ripping the game.
No it isn't. Like, bro, what do you mean by truly be an asym? As if far older games like Stop It Slender, or even non-horror games like Murder Mystery 2, aren't also perfect examples of asym games.
There's a killer whose job is to stop everyone on the map. There's survivors given the necessary tools to escape danger. There's an objective with the occasional skill check that, if failed, sends your location to the killer. There's an exit that opens up once you finish your task.
It's the first true asym on Roblox.
Consistently throughout this video, I noticed that Pappo acts like Dead by Daylight is the only blueprint for an asym game, when in reality this logic is fucking stupid. Not only is DBD not worth glazing at all in the first place, but this genre has technically existed since, like, the beginning of humanity if you count hide and seek as an asym game, which by definition it actually is. Look, just because a game doesn't perfectly replicate the format of Dead by Daylight doesn't mean it's not an asym game. I've heard better logic from a jammy dodger. Yo, wait, I just want to say, before we get started on the Forsaken segment, this section's intro is actually really cool. I genuinely love this guy's editing. Mate, see if only his takes were this good.
I need to make it clear, I am heavily biased. I hate this game.
Sorry guys, spoiler alert. Most of the Forsaken section is dedicated to shitting on the community only. Look, buddy, I don't think you really hate the game itself. I think you just hate the people who play it. Fair enough, but that has nothing to do with the actual game. People always do this, bro. Like, if you're gonna talk about the game, just talk about the game. He only has minimal and honestly not very well thought out opinions on the gameplay loop itself, which tells me he probably threw them in to give the section a bit more substance in order to make the game look as bad as he possibly can to make his bulging hate boner look more justified. It doesn't work.
Every map has around 5 generators for you to complete, featuring a recreation of the iconic Flow Free app. The issue is, doing it doesn't matter. If you go out of it to do the objective, it doesn't unlock a win condition.
Oh my god, bro. There's nothing that pisses me off more than people who think completing objectives in Forsaken doesn't matter. Stop pretending like the maximum total timer reduction isn't 70 whole seconds after all 5 generators are completed, which in Forsaken's short round system is a huge, huge difference for the survivors. And if you didn't already know this, how long have you been playing this game for? I know you have Milestone 1X because I saw you wearing it in one of the clips. I figured out the importance of generators within the first 10 minutes, so what is your excuse?
The objective technically does something, but within the game, it's utterly pointless. The generators are an illusion of a goal, and due to it being a mirage, most people don't bother engaging with the system in any way.
What the fuck?
Are you like a fucking idiot or something? What kind of Forsaken lobbies have you been playing in? I could confidently say that in about 90% of lobbies I'm in, every generator is completed within the first 2 minutes, because reducing the timer by 70 seconds is crazy in proportion to the round's actual length. He also conveniently forgets to mention that they act as a great source of XP and money and malice even. Let's not even talk about that. But no, we can't mention that because then the audience will realize that what I'm saying makes zero sense. He then goes on to complain about OC characters like Chance and Veronica for having more complex movesets, and specifically Two Time for being unbalanced. And yeah, while I can still agree that Two Time has a ton of issues, he immediately throws it all out of the window by comparing it to other characters like Elliot or Shedletsky who have simpler kits. Like, bro, not only is Shedletsky extremely good, but he's also a starter character. Like, you're not meant to pop a blood vessel trying to learn how he works. This argument that people have, that OCs get more attention than non-OCs, is complete and utter bullshit. Because once again, completely neglecting the fact that Shedletsky receives the most skins every update, and other characters like 007 and 7 and Guest are usually praised by everyone. I know I'm not the only one who can clearly see that Guest 1337 is probably the favorite child in Forsaken. You can tell he only omits these things because he knows that adding them in would eviscerate his whole argument, so yeah.
It's fine though, because you don't play Forsaken because you like the game. You don't play it because the gameplay is good. You play it because you have an unhealthy infatuation with real people.
You know what? He's right. I just love big fat oily man.
This next part is probably the only section I could completely agree with him on, but that's only because it's the most cookie-cutter argument ever. The Forsaken fandom sucks. No shit, Sherlock. We know! But as I said earlier, this has nothing to do with the game itself, so it's basically void. I'll do you guys a favor and just skip through the rest of this part because it's insanely boring. I should also mention that this is the same guy who goons the Dandy World in the same video, but how come you didn't bring up that game's fandom? Alright, but because that would ruin your whole video, you spineless git!
Forsaken is heavily monetized. During the Halloween event, there was a killer that would take you multiple weeks to unlock using the in-game currency. But if you were to spend real-world money to skip the grind, it would cost a minimum of 60 USD. I find that atrocious, especially when the killer was brought to the base shop less than a month later. The killer, mind you, being incredibly broken.
Okay. I also agree that the way they monetized the Masquerade was absolutely terrible, but don't act like they've got you at gunpoint forcing you to spend money on the game. You know, you could just grind the game out, and even though it was tedious, you could still get everything for free. Patience is also a virtue if you just want to wait it out until the event ends. Also, by the way, if any of you spent actual money to get Nosferatu, I mean, it's just natural selection if you're going to be that much of a fat chud at that point. Come on.
Outcome Memories would have been here, but I refuse to play it again. I was right, the game is dead and it's never coming back. I am never wrong about anything.
Now this is an objectively wrong statement. The game may be cancelled, but it still has thousands of players online at any given time. In fact, editing Gilly, show the current player count right now. I'm genuinely doing the speed face when he says he's never wrong about anything despite being completely wrong about the very thing he's talking about right now. The only reason he's refusing to play Outcome Memories is because he knows the game itself is high quality and actually made with care. This is the same guy who cried over Colossus being overpowered, by the way, so I wouldn't trust anything he says. Anyway, on to the next part.
Pilau Chase 2 is either absurd bullshit or abysmal dog shit with no in between.
Okay, you win. You can have this point. I can get behind that. Pilau Chase isn't perfect, and while I personally loved it, the recode is looking far more comfortable and polished, which, by the way, Pappo doesn't even bother to bring it up, because that would make the game look better, and we don't want that, right, guys?
It's heavily killer-sided.
Yeah, never mind. Forget what I said earlier. I fucking hate you.
People like Pilau Chase 2 because they get to play as a character they like and have a power trip. That's it. There's no skill required.
Okay, so we're not going to ignore the fact that this guy is level 1 on 4 monsters and level 2 on Valem only, right? I mean, come on, mate. What can I even say about this? Like, once again, my suspicions have been confirmed. This guy does not play the games he's reviewing, nor does he know anything about them Nor does he care. He takes every detail at face value without even taking the time to consider what he's talking about. How is this even a review?
Survivors are given abilities you can buy, so there's technically something you can do even if you aren't the killer, but in practice it doesn't matter because the end is always the same.
He doesn't even own any of these either. This guy's playtime is actually like 10 minutes.
He then shows this gameplay clip of him sitting in a corner while an extremely loud monster angrily barrels towards him and then gets surprised when he gets fucking murked. It is called Pilau Chase, you utter doughball. You're meant to run.
The gameplay is the idea of content. Things happen, but none of it feels real. It's the first dream-type game in the sense that both during and after a round, I don't understand what's going on. Doombyfate's identity is directly tied to old Roblox, despite looking nothing like it, minus the characters and the fucking stud textures everywhere.
I was originally gonna just gloss over this segment because it hurts my head just thinking about Doombyfate again, but luckily this section isn't that bad. I've already made my stance on this game and I don't really like it, nor do I like its identity, or lack thereof. I gotta give the dumbass some credit, Pappo is right. DBF literally throws together random shit in the pan, and what you get is just a big shit pancake with no purpose or polish. Well, most of this section is related to shitting on the Limbus Company approach of DBF, which I can agree with because, well, I mean, in my opinion, this would be a lot better if it was solely based on Project Moon instead of melding it with the themes of old Roblox, but whatever. Anyway, this game still pisses me off, so I'm gonna spare myself the boredom of watching this and move on.
I lied about the definition of retro slop in the previous video. This is retro slop. It doesn't have a unique art style. It's just using old Roblox as a veneer of quality.
Oh, this is top tier rage bait, and it's either that or this guy's fucking stupid. Anyone with cognitive function or minimal research or even the ability to read the description of the game knows the Pwned is based off of Roblox ARGs. It is literally described as a gift for the ARG community, most of which take place in the 2000s. So really, Pwned does have a unique art style because it is literally specifically based on a common style seen in these ARGs. It is faithful, I can't even speak anymore. It is faithful to it more than most asyms are. I think that shows how much research Pappo actually did before clicking the publish button.
There's not even anything negative I can say about the gameplay. There's nothing here. Same abilities, same concept, same shitty hitboxes.
Level 3 prototype. Level 1 Brandon. Brother in Christ, you have no idea what you're talking about. Also, guys, can we just stop dogging on the hitboxes in these asyms? Because at least for most of the time, you do realize that these issues are less to do with the games themselves and more on Roblox's shitty servers, right? I thought everyone above the age of like 12 already knew this, but I guess I was wrong.
Breaking and Steal Things is a game with all style and no gameplay. That doesn't mean its art direction is good, but it's better than most. It has a style and it sticks to it. The UI elements are reminiscent of old Roblox and function like they should. And personally, I adore that the game is in 4x3. I'm a sucker for aspect ratios.
See, you can't say this immediately after whining about Pwned's art style. That game is pretty much the only asym to have a reason to be retro-themed. Biased is the retro sloppiest game on the platform, and somehow he's still gonna go on in a second to complain about dieofdeath style immediately after. Like, bro.
Also, I'm lying, the game doesn't stick to its style. It follows the tried and true. Add emotes referencing anything popular from the last 10 years, despite the fact the game is based on a version of Roblox in the early 2000s blueprint that everyone does for some reason.
I bet. Okay. I mean, not a lot of people bring it up, but sure. I mean, I can get behind that. Some games just make the emotes way too obnoxious for my liking, and, you know, mixed with the insufferable fanbase of this game, it just does not end well. I want to leave the rest of the bias section out, like, just out completely, so I can save my own opinions for my review of the game. I'm sorry for the false promises over the last month, but I swear it's coming at some point. Just give me some more time, okay? Maybe if everyone who's watching this hits the subscribe button, I'll get it a little quicker, huh?
As a base, it's rather dull. There's no objective. There's nothing for you to do to give you the idea of a goal.
I also kind of wish DoD had its own objective system, but at the same time, you can't act like there isn't stuff to keep you busy. Sure, I mean, if you stand in the corner all game, it's gonna be dull. Go help your teammates. choose helpful abilities. It makes winning a lot easier and your time a lot more fun. And yeah, he's also about to discredit everything he says here in the final game segment, so that's nice.
The thing that makes it unique is instead of pre-assigned abilities, the game has a random deck mechanic before every round that gives you 2 random abilities for that match. It makes the game function almost like a roguelike.
Roguelike?
I don't believe dieofdeath has an identity of its own. In comparison to BIAST, if I showed you these 2 games side by side in the same aspect ratio, would you know that they are 2 different games by different people, or the same game at different points of development? They're both so retro. They are both asymmetrical horror games with big quotation marks around horror. The same gameplay loop, the exact same death screen.
Okay, look, bro, you don't have to like this style if you don't want to, but immediately after praising BIAST art style is mental. You do know that dieofdeath came out first, right? If you'd played either of these games for longer than 5 minutes, you'd realize that despite both games being in the same genre, they play completely differently. You literally cannot approach these games in the exact same way. You just can't do it. Also, there's no way you believe that either of these games are horror games, right? I know the description of dieofdeath says it, but come on, it's satire, bro.
This game could be good, but it's not. At least to me. At least to me. At least to me.
At least to me.
No. See, if you actually believe that, then you wouldn't be using the word objectively in every single section, like it's your rose toy activation word. Just because the game isn't exactly the way you want it to be, doesn't mean it's bad. The only asym game you could say is objectively bad is the very game he's about to start glazing. You probably know what it is by now. Just prepare yourselves.
But I have to force myself to engage with these games in order to have enough footage to write down notes.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Bro, you didn't even play half of these games for longer than 5 minutes. What are you on about?
Out of everything available, there is only one asym that I genuinely like. This game doesn't take itself seriously. This game isn't meant to be good. This game is a joke, and it's been a joke since the beginning. That game is You vs. Home.
Holy shit. So, to summarize, Pappo unironically thinks You vs. Homer is the only good asym for the most idiotic reason I've ever seen. He likes it because of the silly, stupid, funny haha memes, and that's it. This is the same guy who just said that games portrayed as jokes are just an excuse. He likes silly, goofy memes and nothing else. Because despite every single thing he said in this video, gameplay doesn't matter. If it's silly and funny, who cares? It doesn't matter. But dieofdeath, no, that game isn't allowed to be satire. It doesn't matter. No other game than You vs. Homer is allowed to be silly and funny. That's why it's so good. That's why it's objectively the best asym. And now we look back to the beginning. Because guess what? You vs. Homer is mechanically identical to Bear, but worse. There is no difference. However,
Bear Alpha is closer, but I hate this game and I refuse to talk about it in any meaningful way. Bear Alpha is closer, but I hate this game, but I hate this game, but I hate this game.
what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? Can you just pick a side and stick to it? Please? It's fine anyway. You vs. Homer is just a stupid trend game, so it's gonna die off soon anyway, I imagine. I don't care anymore, I'm done.
The game was made with the least effort possible, and it's only good because it's dog shit. It's the platonic ideal of an asym. There are no gimmicks. There is no objective. The game looks fucking terrible. It actively rewards you for engaging with as little of the game as possible. It does what everything else in this genre devolves into, but it was designed to be like this from the beginning.
Objectively, it does this formula better than anything else, and that scares me.
No. No, it doesn't. There we go, with objectively again. I hear this guy gets a tingle in his ass every time he makes a bad take. This is incredible. I am convinced with full certainty that this video is the biggest piece of dog shit I've ever witnessed. It does everything wrong from beginning to end. Stop acting like your opinion is the correct opinion to have and constantly being a hypocrite. It makes you look like a total wanker. Even the title, I know it's bait and everything, but Pappo treats everyone who plays these games like they're worthless, brainless children, and then gets all pretentious about it when people call out how shitty the video is. I skipped through a lot of stuff because I got extremely bored while watching it. And honestly, I have better things to do than to analyze every frame of this pathetic excuse for a review. If you want someone who does that, go watch Sharky Leo's video, or Clumsy Fumbles, or literally anyone else's. But thank you regardless, Pappo. Thank you. Thank you for entertaining me, even just for a while. As of finishing this video, Pappo has rightfully unlisted his video and changed the title and everything and is now remaking it. I do not care. I am in disbelief that this was published onto YouTube in the first place. It attacked my ears, it attacked my eyes, and it punched me in the balls. Hard. Roblox Asym, terrible games for terrible people, perfectly underlines why you should well think out your opinions. You cannot hide behind the shield of, oh, it's just an opinion, when you haven't even stopped to consider the incessant babble coming out of your mouth. This video sucks giant fucking donkey dick. That's about all I have to say. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the subscribe button, drop a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
I made a separate video on
Dandy's World because objectively, it does this concept better than
anything in this video.